seen an offensive uptick on that Saturday, 69 shots on goal. Just want to see how you think you could carry that into this upcoming weekend. First Hockey East game against UMass Lowell, rematch of last year's playoff game. So just want to get your thoughts on last weekend heading into this upcoming weekend.
Yeah, we're certainly happy to get the split. I thought we played well enough to win Friday night. It was just kind of a recurring theme that we were struggling scoring goals, and continued into Saturday. After the first period, we had, I don't know what it was, 25 shots or so on net. Still hadn't scored a goal, but I was glad we finally broke through in the second period with 3 goals there, and then continued in the third period to play well. I thought it was our most complete game of the year, without question. And going into Lowell, I just know that it's going to be a hard-fought game. It usually is against Lowell. It's they're just so well coached. They don't beat themselves. They've got good special teams, and Norm just does a fantastic job with that program.
Awesome. All right, we'll open up for questions. Joe, you want to lead us off?
Sure. Hey, Cav, how are you?
I'm good, Joe. Yourself?
I'm good. I'll see you Saturday. So things
Great.
are on the uptick.
Thanks for the warning.
Yeah, of course. Tristan had a big weekend. How has he improved offensively? We know he's a pest and he plays hard, but how has he gotten better offensively?
I think this past weekend he scored goals. He shoots the puck well, and he had an opportunity on a 2-on-1, and he buried that one. And the other one he got, which he's going to get the majority of his goals, is going to the net. He did a good job beating his guy to the net and getting net front position, and redirected Tabor's shot. So that's, I think, primarily going to be his game. He just competes hard. He's wins a lot of battles down low, and really happy with the production that line gave us this weekend. I thought he, Tabor, and Ryan Massey were excellent.
How has Ryan assimilated himself to that line? I mean, kind of the older guy on it.
Yeah, it was something we just put together for Saturday. So it was kind of, we started mixing our lines up on Friday when pucks weren't going in for us. And we stayed with that line for Saturday, and they seem to have great chemistry. They all work hard, they compete, they hound the puck, and they're not afraid to get to the dirty areas.
Last question for me. Norm's teams are always so good defensively. Is it the system? Does he do something different than other coaches do? Why is UMass Lowell's defense always so stingy?
Well, one thing, they don't give up a lot of odd man rushes, so they do a great job structurally. They can create offense without compromising their defensive structure. And so when you don't get, if you're not getting odd man rushes, then you're going to have to win in the offensive zone. And they just play really hard. He always gets his guys to play really hard and compete. And it's, when you get a goal against Lowell, you have to earn it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Daniel, we'll head over to you.
Since Saturday, I've just been thinking how it seems so simple that you go into the game saying we just want to play a no doubter, and then almost 70 shots, 5 goals. So not that level is possible every night, but just how do you maintain that mindset going in of wanting to play your best game and wanting to do everything you can to win it?
Yeah, I think that's the key to coaching, isn't it? Like getting your players to play that way. I think when you lose 3 straight games, Dan, it's human nature that you're tired of it. And the problem is sometimes now you win a couple or whatever, and then you get complacent and you don't have that desperation. So the key is to try to play that desperate hockey night in and night out. So I think our kids understand what it takes to play at that level. And now it's, my job and the rest of the staff to continue to make sure the kids meet those expectations.
is there anything to the team having played as well as it did, just the confidence in knowing that it can reach that level, and what it's just part of what its ceiling could be? Is there any value to just the team seeing itself doing it?
Yeah, I think there's value to that. You know, like I said, though, we had played well against Holy Cross, and I thought we played well the first night against Union, especially in the third period. And I think the hardest part is not to get frustrated when things are going that way, and stay with the game plan, because it clearly was producing offensive chances. It wasn't producing results, but that's where you get in trouble, is then you start cheating, and now you're giving up chances the other way. So I wanted to make sure, and that was one of the things I was happy with. We really weren't giving up a lot of quality chances against, and we were able to put it all together on Saturday. So, but this week's it's a different opponent and a new week. So we've got to reset and regroup and be ready to, play as well as we did Saturday on Friday night.
Jim, we'll head over to you.
Hi, Cav. Good to see you.
Same here, Jim.
Wanted to just ask you about Matthew Wooden, maybe what you've seen in his progression from year 1 to year 2, and are there still areas that he needs to grow a little bit?
Yeah, of course there are. I think this year he's more of a marked man. I've found that teams are certainly line matching with him and trying to get under his skin, and at times they're succeeding, and I think that's all part of the maturation process. So but he's handled it well. I thought Saturday he had played really well. I thought that was a strong game for him. He had a lot of chances and buried a big one for us, got us on the board 1-0. So it's a developmental process. I've watched it with Tage Thompson. I've watched it with Kevin Hayes, especially a bigger guy that has skill. You become a first rounder and you become a marked man, and you have to learn how to deal with that type of checking night in and night out. And eventually he will, and it's just going to make him a better player.
His shot, I mean, I remember his shot being pretty deadly last year. Is that even something that he's improving in year 2?
Yeah, I think it's more on, he's always had a good shot, and the shot will remain. It's more now, can you get it to the net? Can you get it by the guy who's trying to block it? Can you put it past the shin pad? If you're going to shoot high, make sure that you miss. Your miss has got to be on net, not over the net. So those are the little things that he's still working on.
That's great. Thanks, Cav.
Sure, Jim.
Tyler, we'll head to you.
Hey, Colin. Hey, Coach. Thanks for having us. We're doing the ESPN Plus game at Lowell, so
Sure.
Looking forward to seeing you. First time in a while you guys have gone this long without your first Hockey East game. I'm probably overstating it, but just those first moments of Hockey East play, so that uptick in competition, especially against Lowell, you got to be ready for kind of a different brand of hockey.
Yeah, I think it's a double-edged sword, Tyler, because on one aspect, like I have so much respect for our league, and I know the opponent that we're dealing with, and I know what the challenges that they present. But on the flip side, it's comforting in a way, because I know the opponent and I know the challenges they present. When you're playing non-league foes that you don't see all the time, you're just not sure sometimes how to prepare for them, But Norm's been there so long, and he's had such a successful program that I'm very familiar with the style of hockey that they play. But it's also a great challenge, and whether it's Lowell, New Hampshire, or BC, BU, like you go right down the list, it's a dogfight every night.
We saw Sergeyev last year, but just the main difference is, if there are any, between the two goaltenders you've been splitting time with so far.
been really happy with both of their play. I think they've in every game the goaltenders have given us a chance to win, and I think that's all you can ask for. I think they're different type goaltenders. You know, Arseni's definitely more athletic and acrobatic, I would say, with his style. Ethan's more efficient with his movements. So I would, you know, we haven't made any decisions, but I would imagine that they'll both play this weekend.
Great. And then and I want to say his name right. Is it Jake Richard or Richard?
Richard, yeah.
Richard. What's helped him get off to a pretty promising start so far?
He's just a good hockey player. He's got a really high IQ. He had a very good year last year in the USHL, and I think if you did an analytic study on kids, I think that league is probably a good indicator of if you're a top 10 scorer in that league, it's probably a good indicator of how you're going to fare in college hockey. And he was that last year. So he's just he's smart with the puck. He's got good hands. He goes to dirty areas to score goals, and he's got a really high hockey IQ.
And then last one for me, 69 shots against Union. I guess I'll just leave it there. What are your thoughts on that? Is that a legit number?
I never know. It was certainly, I think, I don't know if it was 69, but it was definitely 60. And
nice.
Somewhere in that ballpark. And still it took us 60 shots to get 5 goals, which sometimes isn't so great, but if that's what it takes, then that's what we're going to have to do. But when you are getting that many shots, that means you have the puck a lot. And, that's what I was happy with. We had the puck a lot. When you have the puck a lot more than the opponent, it's tougher for them to score.
Awesome. Thank you.
Natalie, we'll head over to you.
Thank you. Good morning, Coach. Thanks for your time this morning.
Good morning, Natalie.
Something I like to ask about is, I wonder if you could talk about your leadership group and what each of them possess as leadership qualities, I guess.
Sure. We have 2 captains in Hudson Chandor and Jake Flynn. And Jake's a 5th-year kid with us, and Hudson's, in his 4th year with us. And they're both very different, but committed to the same goals. They're just great kids off the ice. They're excellent students. They carry themselves well around campus, and they bring an energy to practice every day. And they're not necessarily rah-rah guys, but they bring – Hudson's got a lot of positive energy, but just the way they compete every day in practice is infectious. I think Andrew Lucas and Harrison Reese are wearing they're assistant captains. And again, I call them, they're like college pros. They do things the right way. But we're also fortunate to have, like a John Spetz, a Chase Bradley now who's in his 3rd year. It's not just guys who wear letters. We've got a pretty big group of guys that set the tone and the example every day, which makes coaching a lot easier.
Great. And I don't know how much, obviously, film you watched on UMass Lowell this past weekend, but with Matt, I believe it's Kraza.
Yeah.
4 goals on that Friday night game. I guess,
Right.
What are you preparing for, knowing that he's going to be in the lineup?
Well, I think he's a great player, and he has been for a couple of years. And I think it's kind of a hallmark of a Norm Bazin program is that he develops kids really well, and they might be all of a sudden junior year, you're like, where did this kid come from? But, he seems like his upperclassmen are always getting better. And I think he's a prime example of a kid who's developed really well under Norm, and he's going to be a guy we have to certainly know when he's on the ice come Friday night.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Natalie.
Dan, we'll head over to you.
Just my question, I wanted to mention that Union actually went back through the game right afterwards and recounted all the shots. So I think 69 is a legit number, but you've got your first game at XL this weekend. Are you doing anything different to prepare? Do you have a practice up there, or have you practiced in the barn, or is it going to be puck goes down and that's the first time some of the new guys have played there?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. We in the past we'd always practice there. I think it was just kind of it was nice to get away from the Freitas and practice down there. But here, like, the kids don't want to leave here to go practice down at the XL. And when we probably only have 4 or 5 new guys. I don't think it's that imperative that we go practice at the XL. So to answer your question, no, we haven't. It'll be nice to go back there. I love playing games there. It's going to be one of 6 games we play down there this year, but I would assume we'll have a pretty good crowd. It's hard to get a ticket here on campus, so a lot of our fan base from the West Hartford, Avon, Simsbury area, that it's difficult to come all the way up to campus, especially when there's no tickets available. Hopefully they come out and support us on Saturday.
Then over the weekend you pushed Matt over to wing. How do you think he did, just moving into a little bit of a different spot for this season at least?
I think he was fine. I don't think it wasn't a move because we weren't happy with him at center. It was more of a move that he and Hudson had so much success last year playing together. And even this year, when I put Hudson on his line for a period against Colgate, they created a couple goals. I just thought it was time to try to get those 2 back together.
Then Nick Capone, what's his outlook for this weekend? Do you think there's a chance you might have him?
There is a chance. He did practice yesterday. So today will be a big day to find out kind of where we're at with him.
Any other injury concerns heading into the weekend?
Besides Jake Valou right now, I would say, he's going to be out for at least a few more weeks. Other than him, hopefully right now we're good.